What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my second long form video of this channel. Today we are going to be diving into the top 3 wins for fans from this Birmingham major. Not the wins for the teams, not the wins for players, for us, how entertaining it is for us, how the esport looks. We're just going to dive into that. So number 1 win, I think, for fans has to do with this replay, actually, because there seems to be a consensus on who the number 1 player in the world is. And that seems to be Drawley, who we are watching right now. Now you could put some other players in this number 1 spot, but I think most people think it's Drawley. However, I think other players are making a fight for it, namely Zen. Nupo really put on a show. Drawley's own teammate, Atao, could be in there. Some people say Daniel on NRG, or even Yan. But I think most people stick to Drawley, Zen, and Nupo. Now, there's lots of stats on this, specifically goal participation. Zen, Nupo, and Drawley are really, really high on their teams. Zen, 69.6% goal participation. Nupo just behind him is 67.83%. And Drawley with 65.22%. Now, obviously, that is a lot. They are involved in a lot of their team plays, which is the reason why a lot of people put them into this conversation. Also, score per game, they're all super high. Nupo, 465, Zen, 462, and Drawley, 436. And then, goals per game, all 3 of them are above or just at 1 goal per game. Nupo, 1.18 goals per game. Zen, 1.07. And Drawley is at exactly 1 goal per game. But I think this race is perfect for us as fans because, Zen was the consensus number 1 for a while now. And I think Drawley is starting to take that spot. But Zen and Nupo are definitely putting up a fight for it. And we know it is hard to keep dominance throughout a whole season, whether you're a team or an individual. And so I'm excited for the rest of the season. I think this is good for the esport because, drama is what we like, right? So drama about the number 1 player in the world, perfect. And I think it'll change throughout the season. I think specifically Nupo, I think he'll really keep jumping out as long as he keeps making it to these events. But we'll get on to number 2, which we're actually going to switch the replay for. So we'll talk more in replay number 2. On to replay number 2 and point number 2. We are watching NRG versus the Falcons. This is game 7 on, I believe, Sunday. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But the reason I have this replay going is because of the competition, right? This was a game 7, and we just lucked out on for all the playoffs pretty much. 6 out of the 9 games went to 6 or 7 games during the playoffs, right? So the competition is good right now for the top 8 teams. I think you can make an argument for the top 8 teams on who's the best in the world. Obviously, put an asterisk there with Carmine Corp. Right now, they're number 1, and then 2 through 7 is all competing for second at the moment, right? So I guess I could say the competition for 2 through 7 is really good at the moment. But right now, KC is the standard, right? They swept on Sunday, and I think we've seen before a team that's dominated. Like I think of the Vitality squad, where they dominated 2023, but 2024 was another story, right? Last year, and I think it's generally agreed that they didn't get worse. Zen, Radosin, and Alpha 54, they were still world-class players. They had some good results, but they weren't dominating it like the year before, right? So I think it's safe to say that people are going to attempt to raise the ceiling to rise to where KC is. We know these teams. They're not going to settle. And I think NRG did show that there is some potential to beat them. when they played them on Saturday. They did take 2 games off of them, but right now it's hard. But I think that coming into the next regionals in Split 2 and heading into Raleigh, I think it'll at least be closer, and hopefully throughout the rest of the season, other teams pick it up and we have some good competition, and I believe we will. I think history has shown that it is really hard to keep up that dominance. So, I mean, we'll see. On to replay number 3, I believe, right? Yep, that's where we are. We got to talk about some history that was made during the weekend. 1v1 was added to the RLCS, and we had our first 1v1 major champion. And I think it was great for fans. I think this was a massive W. It fits great into the circuit. And honestly, the script writing was also so perfect. Moxie ended up going 3-0 at first, and Yan started coming back and forced a game 7 until Moxie denied that reverse sweep in this game that we're watching right now. And that was the perfect way to introduce it to fans who aren't familiar with 1 specifically. Obviously 3s is the main entertainment and what people are into, but I mean, denying a reverse sweep in the first major is perfect cinema for anyone who hasn't been familiar with 1s. And I think it's just going to get better from here. We could see how nervy both players were feeling. There was a lot of air dribble bumps, kind of lacking the Moxie flick, as well. As you could really tell, Moxie was specifically nervous, not being used to being on LAN. It took a few games as well for Yan to get started with his aerial game, which we were all expecting. But in general, they started to settle, but it's not peak 1s. We're not there yet. It's not the games we've seen in, for say, Johnny Boy's Salt Mine. The games were not super amazing, just because they were nervous. But I think it will get better. And next split, especially, the players playing in Raleigh in the 1v1 circuit will most likely be not specifically 1 player, so they'll be used to LAN. I'm thinking, Daniel Diaz for WAS, someone of that caliber, Evo. But we'll see. I hope that it continues to go well. I hope we get absolute cinema 1s in the next majors, because I love 1s, and I want there to be a more extensive bracket next year, and I think we can get that. So, I mean, let me know in the comments if you agree. If there's any other wins you guys can think of, specifically for you, what you enjoyed about this major, let me know in the comments below, and subscribe and like this video so that I can keep making more of them. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.